Watermat, how are you?
I am good. I didn't sleep that much last night, but still I'm good.
Is it always a hectic time doing ADE?
Yeah, it's always like that. I mean, at least for me so far, I always arrive with a gig the day before and a gig on the night when I arrive. So.
On purpose or just that's how it works
No,
out?
yeah, that's how
Okay.
it ends up, you know.
Well, fair enough. Well, obviously last year I spoke to you and we covered Bullit and everything,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
won't
yeah.
ask you about Bullit anymore. But well, one thing that you touched upon is you travel all over the world.
Yeah.
Do you ever get used to it?
Actually, yeah, I got used to it now. I still cannot sleep too much in the planes, but yeah, I can take planes all the time. It's no problem anymore.
And in terms of creating music, then can you do that on the road, or do you have to be?
I still cannot do it on the road.
Okay.
I still have to be in studio, so that's why I need to keep some free time in studio from time to time during the year to be able to do new tracks, you know.
Does it have to be a specific studio then, or can it be?
It can be anywhere, but the best is when it's my.
Sure.
You know, I have a home studio,
Sure.
just a room with all my hardwares and stuff, and that's the best for me to work on.
And like you say, you plan out maybe a week, 2 weeks to go work in the studio.
Yeah.
Do you have to be in a certain mood when you create music?
The best for me is when I'm relaxed, you know.
Okay.
Like I don't expect anything out of it, and I'm just with like in my studio with all my instruments, and I'm just playing like this, and that's where I'm the more creative. So it's the best for me.
And if we go then to the last time you were back in your studio,
Yeah.
can you take me through maybe the first 2 days? What do you do? Do you first listen to music, or do you already have ideas that you start working on?
Most of the time, I always work. I'm playing with my instruments, so I play with the synths, or like I'm listening to old records, and I am trying to find samples and stuff. And yeah, so I can work like that for like 3 weeks without doing anything,
Okay.
not finding any good things. But then I can find like in 2 hours like 3 interesting ideas. So you know, there's no rules. It's really like that.
So the last time you were in the studio, what was the kind of music that you, or what came out the first couple of days?
Okay, so last time I was in studio, it was last week. I've done studio sessions in London with songwriters, and we did like maybe around 3 tracks. And so it's always a bit different when you work with songwriters, because I always bring like instrumental tracks that I've done before in my studio. So last time I was really in my own studio working on tracks. I've done let's say something. I always try to keep a bit my style, but it's a bit more like a UK house style.
And is this then determined, in that period, are you then listening to a lot more UK house, and is that why it kind of...
No, I think it's also influenced by what I play in
Okay.
my gigs, you know. So I play a lot of UK house, so that's why probably I went in this direction a bit more.
Fair enough. And in that session, did anything come out that you are thinking about releasing?
I think I'm pretty sure I have 2 tracks to release out of this session, because it went very well, and maybe 3 even.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, it's cool.
But then you mentioned something else. Playing live is obviously quite different than being in the studio.
Yeah.
So once you've been in the studio for maybe 2 weeks or so, and you go back on the road, do you have to kind of get into the flow again? Or?
No, I mean a break of 2 weeks is quite short, and I'm touring the whole year, so it's I'm still into this vibe a bit. But let's say I never this year the longest break I took in studio, it was I think even less than 3 weeks. It was after the summer, and I think it was something like a bit more than 2 weeks off. And so okay, let's say the first gig is a bit.
Sure.
You have to get into it at least a bit again, but it goes like this, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. And then, like you say, you're on the road so much. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you kind of stay sane in a way, if that makes sense?
Stay what?
Stay sane. Keep your sanity, because you're on the road so much. And
I'm quite healthy guy. You know, I drink juices and I take like I eat lots of vegetables and stuff like that. I try to not drink that too much. I don't drink that much, to be honest. I don't take any drugs, stuff like that. So. So you have this. Also to have on tour, it's always good to have like let's say a series to watch to keep you a bit to keep the airport a bit fun. And and that's it. I also try to go back to my place as more as I can. So during the weeks I spend time at home with my family. That works for me then.
Because in that sense, I think a lot of people, when they see DJs and producers, they think it's all glamour, but it's a lot of hard work. I've been interviewing a lot of DJs. So what keeps you going? Because obviously you have to make some sacrifices. So what keeps you going?
Because it's also an amazing, I can call it a job, you know, it's also an amazing passion that I can go all over the world showing my music. It's something when you're allowed to do that. It's a gift, so you don't want to spoil it. So that's how it works for me, and for sure I have to. I see a little less my friends, my families, but at the end. I think I found a good balance. Okay. So I'm not like leaving home for like a month. I've done it once for a US tour of 3.5 weeks, but I think it's too long for me, so I won't do it again that way.
And then one thing, this is from an interview a couple of years ago, so I'm not sure if this is still right, but you don't like to profile yourself so much. You're a little bit shy.
I was not really, I didn't like too much the selfies, but to be honest, if you go on my Instagram, I changed a bit, so I've done not that much, but still I'm doing a couple of it. So yeah, because it's the you go with the the epoch.
The time.
The time, you know. So it's like.
And that's very interesting because you've been producing quite a while, and now you also have DJs coming up. They're 16, 17, getting signed. And do you think that's a good thing?
It's way easier to do music nowadays than let's say 10 or 15 years ago when you had to buy hardware and records label would have to. If they want to sign you, they have to produce vinyls and stuff like that. So they need to put money on the table. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you can just sign. I think for a label, they can sign a lot of records and just put it on the online platforms, and it doesn't cost that much. So it's you have a lot of producer because it's quite easy to do music. And I think it's cool because anyone can do his own music, and it's easier, and I don't have any problem with that. I think there's more freedom in the music in this way. But I also think it's important that a young producer try to have their own style and their own way to produce music, because if they just like watch the biggest names and they're like, let's say Martin Garrix, I guess like that, they're really young and they're like a worldwide superstar, and I want to be like that. But then if they want to achieve that, they definitely need to find their own sound. They won't achieve that if they copy, they take the preset that everyone is using at the moment, you know.
And in that sense, because like you say, there are so many people now going into producing and DJing. Yeah. For you, has it become more difficult to separate yourself from everything that's out there, or?
No, me. the way I work, I don't really listen to what's going on, and I work with also like either samples or like external hardware, keyboards. So I always, when I do music, I try to have fun. It's the way I work. So I'm not like, okay, I want to sound exactly like this because it's in the top 10 beatport, and I want to have exactly this sound. I'm just like trying to be happy with the result, and I trust my ears. Okay, maybe it sounds different, but Bullit, it sounded a lot different than the other tracks, and that's what made me pop out. So that's what I try to focus on.
So in that sense, because Bullit was for you maybe a turning point a little bit. Yeah. In that sense, did it add, looking back now, did it add pressure?
Yeah, sure. Because you're like, okay, I need to have another hit like that maybe, but to be honest, I didn't have that expectations. I was like, I did Bullit because I was free in my mind, and I wasn't like focusing on doing a hit. So I'm still in this mood, you know. I like, okay, I can do tracks that I like. That really the only rule for me that matters.
In that sense, well, let me ask this. I'm going to phrase it a little bit different. How do you define success? It's a tough question, but
no. But okay, let's say. For me, success is not like to be number one of the charts. It's like to be proud of your work, and to have your own personality. And okay, for sure, as success, you have to also have like a bit of like people like your work, because otherwise, you know, that's the balance. And that's it. And when you have this, I think you don't have to be number one everywhere. You just have to have like your fans and your own scene, and it's okay.
Last question then: what is maybe the best reaction that somebody had to your music that you remember? Maybe a fan said something, or some Brazilian fans sending me their underpants, something like that. Okay.
No, just like everyone when I'm on tour, they come after the show and say that they love my music and stuff like that. It's always an amazing moment for me, you know.
I think that's a good ending. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.